second video in the series, we talk about another facet of the pedagogical foundation of the real-world problem scenario. In the previous video, we talked about the centrality of community connections and expanding students' social connectedness through the real-world problem scenario. Now we turn to the theory that shapes the pedagogical approach of the problem scenario, problem-based learning. Problem-based learning is learning that is driven by an authentic, ill-structured problem. Problem-based learning is often confused with project-based learning, and indeed the two can overlap, but the real-world problem scenario emphasizes problem-based learning. Problem-based learning is nested in the sociocultural theory of learning. This constructivist approach tells us that students build their knowledge and understanding of the world as a result of interacting with cultural spheres of influence. Gains in learning, therefore, come from interactions, from processes of relating to and with social forces and cultural forces close to the students' lives. Epstein's model of spheres of influence helps us to explore the relationship between family, school, and the community in terms of influence on children. As the child gets older, the spheres move closer together due to the increase in importance of school and community in the child's life. Students learn to take information from the community and school and use it to inform their ideas about knowledge, their abilities to shape the world, and their futures. The real-world problem scenario puts students into direct contact with their spheres of influence to learn about and solve problems affecting their homes and communities. To understand this approach more deeply, we can contrast it with direct instruction. In direct instruction, an adult or teacher directs learning by presenting material to the students and asking the students to memorize the information. In direct instruction practices, the teacher does most of the talking and usually decides what information the students need to learn. The teacher is seen as a sage on the stage who has the knowledge to give to the students. Paulo Freire calls this the transactional or banking model of education. The teacher has the knowledge which then gets deposited into the student. In some cases, direct instruction is a necessary approach to learning. However, Freire warns us against the pitfalls of overusing this model. Freire says that learning, presented in this way, paints a picture of reality as if it were motionless, static, compartmentalized and predictable, or else the teacher expounds on the topic completely alien to the existential experience of the students. Problem-based learning, on the other hand, makes learning an active, engaging experience for both the teacher and the students. The students are learning about real problems that come about because of changes in the community or needs caused by unpredictable events. Problem-based learning, or what Freire calls problem-posing education, places the student and communication with the student's spheres of influence in the center of learning. Here, inquiry drives learning through questioning and seeking answers through dialoguing with community experts, local artifacts, texts, and each other. That is the creative, constructive process which builds true mastery of knowledge of skills. In the real-world problem scenario, the business or community participant brings to the classroom a real problem in need of solving. This authentic problem arises from real-world needs and may not have one solution or even a clear solution. In fact, many of our businesses and community participants do not themselves know the answer to the problem, which is why they bring it to the students in the first place. This means that it is very likely that the classroom teacher will not know the answer to the question being asked and researched in their own classroom. In fact, prior to participating in the problem scenario, many of our teachers know little to nothing about the business partner's industry or field of expertise. We at Building Bridges to Careers view this as a good thing, true to the nature of authentic problem posing and learning. This is an opportunity for true, authentic learning to emerge in the classroom and is where we see real engagement from students and teachers alike. In problem-based classroom curriculum, the teacher really is a guide on the side, following the students' inquiry process and guiding them to resources and materials where they begin to find answers and construct a solution to the community problem. The teacher is not the holder of knowledge, just the guide to deeper learning. Problem-based learning activities also address teacher professional standards. Teachers create activities to help students develop as independent learners and complex problem solvers. Each of the problem scenarios represents a complex problem in need of creative connections and deeper understanding to create a solution. An additional teacher standard includes that teachers connect content to relevant life experiences and career opportunities. Using the business partner in the classroom to present the problem scenario allows direct connections to the real world right in the classroom. The problem scenarios address concerns from employers highlighted in research studies, such as the one published by the Association of American Colleges and Universities in 2015. In this study, hundreds of employers were asked whether or not recent graduates had the professional skills necessary to excel in the workplace. Employers reported that the students may have had academic knowledge, but they lacked the ability to apply this knowledge to real-world problems. Of the employers surveyed, 7 out of 10 employers reported that graduates were not ready for the workplace. However, 87% of those same employers reported that participation in applied learning projects where students use academic knowledge in real-world scenarios increased their chance of success. In problem-based learning, the problem statement guides the activity and learning. The problem statement is shaped by the business or community participant and the teacher together. The best problem statements are short, ill-structured, and clear. Let's take a moment to look at some examples of ill-structured problems that Building Bridges to Careers teacher practitioners have used previously in their classrooms. BuildingBridgesToCareers.com has a library of all problem scenarios used in the past in classrooms all across the United States. Each problem is organized by subject area and grade level. As you can see from our first example, the problem statement is extremely short and not defined. This is one question that captures the problem, but the solution in no way will be simple. The short, simple problem is designed that way to lead the students to more questioning, to guide their research and creative problem solving. In this example, given by business partner Marietta Memorial Health System, the students are introduced to a math and logistics question. The problem scenario is clear, but the specifics are lacking. One question leads students to other, deeper questions. For example, where are the vaults going to be built? What obstructions could limit the type of equipment used to build the vaults? What equipment is even involved in building vaults of this type? And most intriguingly, why does a cancer center need radioactive material in the first place? By engaging in solving this problem, a problem that looks like a simple math problem on the surface, students gain a greater understanding of what a local business does right in their community. They'll learn how different businesses work together to make sure the community has what it needs to help its citizens. Further, the math knowledge is the content area goal of this problem scenario. Yet, it is the fact that every student in the classroom has most likely had a friend, relative, or someone they know fight a battle with cancer that connects and engages them in a deep and meaningful way. Through solving this real-world problem scenario, the students gain a deeper understanding of not only math, but of a part of their lives. Short, clear problem statements allow students to use their creativity to solve problems. There are very little parameters in this next example, and no resources listed at all. That is because we want the students to practice their professional skills by using the business partner and community members as a resource. When the business partner comes to the classroom, they will give necessary background, definitions, and context to the problem statement. In the next video, we will talk about timing and construction of lessons around the business partner's visit to maximize learning in the inquiry process. Some of the problem scenarios also feature videos of the business partner explaining the problem in greater detail. These short videos are just a snapshot of what the business partner will present when they visit the classroom to introduce the problem to the students. But these videos give you an idea of the expansion of the problem from the ill-structured problem statement.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Lowers, Senior Director of Therapy Services for Memorial Health System. Athletic trainers are people that are used to keep athletes safe. They're medical professionals on an athletic football field or basketball court. Many high schools have them and many high schools do not. So the problem scenario was that a remote school not local to the community was asking for help. How do we convince our school board, how do we convince our community that having an athletic trainer in our school system is the right thing to do? We want one, we think we need one, but we need to convince all of the players, the school board, and the community that we need one.
Problem-based learning differs from project-based learning in that the emphasis in problem-based learning is the process, not the outcome at the end. When we assess mastery and competencies in problem-based learning, we assess student growth along multiple points of demonstration of the skill. In problem-based learning, we're looking for students to engage fully in the inquiry process, researching, demonstrating use of skills and content standards, but we are unconcerned if they find the correct answer or even have a fully formed answer by the end of the activity. Project-based learning, however, emphasizes the end product, the product at the end of the unit. Project-based learning assesses the completion of a product or project to capture the demonstration of mastery in one fell swoop. The emphasis is on a completed, refined product instead of the process that led the students to the creation. In a future video, we will dive into the many ways to assess and design the real-world problem scenario for your classroom. Many of our educators combine problem and project-based learning in the real-world problem scenario. However, for us at Building Bridges to Careers, the key is learning content standards through engaging students actively and fully in the process of learning about their community.